Today is Saturday, October 5th, 2019. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 2 of Island of the Idols.
That intro music is titled Anxious Abyss. I think that's a great two-word summary great two-word summary of what playing Survivor must be like. Living over an anxious abyss, not knowing what's coming at all. How many fans did we have this week?
29.
People are excited about this season. They can also be disappointed in the result, like say they picked Molly as their USB in the fantasy league.
I'm not disappointed.
I wasn't referring to you.
Oh, okay.
But that still makes them excited about the season too, and they're very energetic in their objections or their revelations in relating what they saw in this episode. Do we need to cover anything before we dive in? I love these big shows.
I do not believe so.
Let's hit it. We got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling you. Wow. This was a big, big shocker and very, very sad for me. But nevertheless, I'm going to let out a great big woo! And no singing, because I'm sad. It was different with Ronnie. You know, I know he was from Boston last week. That didn't bother me, though. I'm so sad my homegirl from Boston got blindsided. Molly. I know I'm sounding biased here. She had so much potential. Based on her interviews, the way she was playing, everyone said she was Poverty 2.0. I know she's not Poverty, but man, she looked like she had something going. But I guess I gotta give credit where it's due to some of the other women. Lauren caught me by surprise. Kelly, big time surprise at Island of Idols with that trivia with Boston Rob and Sandra, and it's somehow hiding the idol in her hair bun. Unbelievable. And then Janet continues to surprise me, the fire maker. But I'm curious, guys, Tommy, those girls got into Tommy's head. I think he should have somehow stayed true to his alliance, because he said he was close with Jamal and his boy Jack, and you know they're going to be pissed at him. I think Tommy, believe it or not, might be the one in trouble. We'll see. But I was totally shocked by it, and clearly Molly did not see that coming. Unbelievable. And then the other team, guys, another shocker. Chelsea, what's up with these women? She makes the fire that Aaron could not even figure it out. Wow, that was, or Tom, the Hawk player there. That was unbelievable. Wow. And how did Chelsea stumble upon the idol? Was that by coincidence or what? Man, that was very clever editing to me. I didn't see that coming. So you got two women with idols. Interesting, and no one knows anything at this point. But I think Aaron is still in trouble on that team, even though Missy tried to bring him in. You could see Aaron is a bitter, bitter baby. Oh, real quick, guys. With Nora, I don't know what to think of Nora. Jason, I feel like is trying to redeem himself, but I don't know. Nora, though, I gagged in the beginning when she was bending everyone's ear out about how to live. We should be doing this. Woman, you're on Survivor is what I'm yelling at the TV. But yet her and Jason, somehow they got into it with those other women and Tommy. So we'll see how that goes. So I don't know. I mean, but right now it's those girls that are running the show at that camp right now. And Jamal and Jack better watch it. I don't know. We'll see what happens, guys. What are you thinking? I know this is a long shot. I'd love to see Molly play again. Yes, I'm biased, and I'm sounding maybe bitter because she was my home girl. But oh well, she was a threat, and I love this season, guys. I'm shocked, and it was a great episode. Keep it up, Survivor. Woo!
All right. Pete found the good in the midst of the bad there in that episode for him. Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, Molly talked about in her interview with Dalton Ross how she didn't have a clue, even though there were clues being dropped. She said in hindsight, they were playing charades. I think it's what it was. And the topic that Dan gave Molly was "Gone with the Wind." And she said she woke up after she had been voted out and thought, he was telling me something. That's great. Oh, I like that.
I'm sure once you get to Ponderosa, all kinds of things go through your head. Like, how did I not see anything?
Well, they admittedly did a very good job with her. And we might have overcredited her ability a tad too. She said that she can see she didn't make the connections that she needed. So, all part of it.
That is frequently a fatal mistake.
Yes, if you're not constantly tending the social game without somehow avoiding the sense of being overbearing, you're asking to get blindsided, I guess.
And an alliance of 3, the numbers are not there.
Yeah, and that's all just a perspective thing. Some of that, I guess, is a bit of editing. It's interesting. Definitely want to check out her interview so she can give a different side of the alliance of 3 kind of component there. She says she wasn't going to the end with Jamal in any sense. That was never part of her plan. Next up, we got an email from Mike in Omaha. Stacy, Joanne, and all the Survivor fans plainly stated, I'm loving this season. Sandra telling Kelly that she and Rob being out there is better than Cochran cracked me up. Listen to your recap show. Good stuff. Okay, thanks, Mike. I suspected that Vokai was going to lose, and I decided to do what Stacy's always suggesting and pick bold. So I had both Nora and Jason safe. Whew. All right. Good job there. That's officially bold. Also what I did. Now, if you add Aaron and Dan to the mix, you can be like Major League bold.
Wonder
like
if he sweat as much as you did during the show.
Hey, shh. Got to maintain the mystique here.
Uh-huh.
Though, Joanne, I am also sensible as you often are, and I did mark Aaron safe as a just-in-case plan fail-safe. Of course, now knowing Lyra was safe, wish I'd gotten a safe point off Aaron. I had Handsy Dan going home, so a swing and a miss there. I am aware that I can only blame the alphabet for it, but dang it, looks good to see my name at the tip top of the JSFL board. Joanne, you are a sweetheart, so on your behalf, I'm sorry you lost your USB, and I'm glad that she was a good sport about leaving, but I was thrilled to see Princess Molly go. Earlier in the episode, she showed her arrogance, and I felt my and KimJ's initial reads on her were spot on. KimJ, you're a genius. Is that like a way of also calling yourself a genius? I think that's what Mike just did there, right?
Yep.
Nice
but
setup with the 1-2, Mike. My USB Lauren caught what Molly was selling and executed her in short order, so happy to see it. Listening to an exit interview from her, apparently Tommy, Jason, and Lauren all thought she was Parvati 2.0, so yet again, pregame at Ponderosa is so important. She's an intelligent gal, but I'm still glad to see her gone, and I think the cast will be happy because she was a serious threat. This was an amazing episode. People I think are in definite trouble before the merge are Jamal, Tom, Aaron, Nora, and even if Karishma is not injured, possibly her. I feel Jack will cruise to the swap at least, which I think won't happen until at least episode 5, given both OG Vokai and Lyro 2 dates with Rob and Sandra apiece. Kelly surprised me, and based on her edit, I think we're going to have her well into the merge. In pregame, I thought she was useless. Loved hearing everyone's feedback. Thanks to you all, Joanne and Stacy, especially. Thanks, Mike. Good job, bud. Next up, we got a call from Shea.
Hey, guys. It's Shea. I really loved it. Again, I really am liking the part with Rob and Sandra. I love the test that they gave that chick Kelly because listening and bonding is a huge part of it. And I'm really glad she won the advantage. That Nora chick is truly getting on my nerves, and I'm wondering if Jason is hating being affiliated with her. I really liked Molly, but I have to admit it may have been a really good move for everybody else to go ahead and get rid of her. My favorite people are Janet and Elaine so far, so I'm really glad that there was no focus on them. I can't wait to see what happens next, and of course I can't wait to hear the podcast, both your opinion and the other listeners. So anyway, I guess we'll see what happens. All right, well, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Excellent. Great to hear from you too, Shay. Next up, we got an email from Michael in Kansas.
I do not like Nora. She is so unaware of how her own actions affect others that she is sabotaging her game. I find her unlikable as she plays victim and is clueless at just how catty she comes across. I do like Kelly and laughed at the look on her face as Rob and Sandra went on and on and on with their chatter. I get accused of having that same look on my face when I don't care about the conversation I'm forced to be a part of when I have zero interest in the topic. On another note, I have that same swimsuit Sandra was wearing. Who knew a 2-time $1 million winner would shop at the same stores as this small-town teacher?
All right.
I love the show and hearing everyone's different perspectives every week. All right. Thanks, Michael. But I did practice, just in case, saying...
The Hebrew pronunciation?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And so...
Let's hear it.
But I didn't know which was which, so we decided to go on the Old Testament version of Michael. But if it's different, let us know.
Michal.
Nihal.
Yeah. Michal. Michal.
Nihal.
I have trouble with the huh.
Well,
In any case, we're trying. We're working on it.
We tried.
Next up, we got a call from Noelle-n-Immie.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Noelle.
And Immie.
From Albuquerque, calling with our feedback, episode 2, Island of the Idols. So the episode started out with some camp time. What did you think about the camp time? I thought that was good. I liked seeing everybody get some camera time. Aaron seemed pretty mad about the Ronnie vote, but then he was trying to tell them, hey, I wasn't close to Ronnie. You should have told me.
I thought he was being such a baby.
He was being a baby. And then we got to see Kelly go to the Island of the Idols. That was really exciting. She was just as surprised as Elizabeth.
I know, but Elizabeth's face was better.
Elizabeth's face was better. And then, did you think Kelly was going to take them up on the challenge?
No.
I didn't think so either, but I was so excited when she won. That was so great. And then she goes back to camp, and they have the challenge, which was exciting. And then Vokai lost, which was surprising, because we thought Vokai would win. I think they got overconfident.
No, I thought Vokai would lose.
Oh, see, I thought Lyra would lose again, and that Aaron would go, so I was off. But even though I said Aaron would go, I was excited to see them win. I was happy for them, especially because Missy pulled out the win, and I love her. That was so great. And then what happened after that, we got to see them talk about who they're going to vote out. And it seemed at first like they were going to vote out Nora because she was, just as I predicted, annoying people. And they were torn between her and Jason. But then Lauren seems to be running the show, doesn't she? She suggested Molly because she felt like Molly was playing the game really well.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not no sheep.
Yeah, that is what she said. And then who got voted out?
Molly.
Molly did. That was really surprising, and I'm gonna miss seeing her on the show. But it was such an exciting vote out that I was happy about it, and I love that Rob and Sandra are up there in their hut watching Tribal Council because it feels like they're on the couch with us, and I love that.
Yeah, and even Sandra was surprised when Molly got voted out. She's like, what?
That's true. She was surprised too. She said they played her A-word. That was so exciting. And oh my gosh, we have no idea who's going next. What do you think? Oh, in the preview, it looks like it's Karishma getting hurt, but I suspect she's not going to be evacuated.
Yeah, probably not.
Do you have any idea what's going to happen next time?
No.
Me neither. We'll have to think about our picks. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Noelle. Thanks, Immie. I think that's becoming the theme of the season. Nobody's safe.
That's right. Well, that's why it was such a good blindside. It's like, because we just had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realized no one chose Molly to go, it's like, whoa.
Can't get better than that.
Everybody got blindsided.
That's your validation right there. Out of 300 people, that's a good sample.
Yep. Well, closer to 4.
Next up, we got an email from Nathan in Portsmouth, Virginia. I don't know if I was just grumpy when I was watching this episode, but I shook my head and yelled at the TV more during this episode than any other episode I've ever seen. Well, with the exception of the end of last season. So please allow me to vent for a moment. It began with Aaron throwing a fit about the tribal council vote. He did say that he wasn't too tight with Ronnie, which was the right thing to say, but then he took it too far by saying he had no trust for anyone. It's okay to be upset when the vote doesn't go your way, but don't alienate yourself further by throwing a fit. I was yelling, "Learn to play the game, Aaron." I was then yelling, "Stop it, Nora." She should have just gotten up and said, "Hey, vote me out next time." I mean, seriously, has she never watched Survivor? And she just kept going and going. By this point, I was thinking, are her and Aaron recruits? I should have paid more attention during Jabek. Yes, indeed. The next person who annoyed me was Chelsea. I have no problem with a girl alliance or anyone in that alliance saying they're playing better than the men. It annoyed me when she said the men clearly don't know how to find a hidden immunity idol. Well, Chelsea, you didn't go looking for the idol. You said that yourself, so it's not like you're some idol finding master. You just happened to stumble across it. That's good for you, but it doesn't mean you're better than anyone else at finding idols. You're just luckier. Next, it seemed that they really wanted Kelly to win that immunity. Boston Rob barely let her pause for a decision before he upped the offer and made the idol last longer, as well as lowering the number of questions she had to answer. That definitely seemed to be the case to me, too. And to top it off, the first question was what branch of the military Sandra's husband is in, as Sandra wears an army hat. I guarantee you Kelly did not recognize that. She may not even notice Sandra had a hat on.
I did.
You did? Okay, we'll give you credit. Check. I then got upset at Jamal because he got way too comfortable. As soon as he said he was surprised at how well they were handling things, I yelled, "And you or one of your alliance members are gone tonight." He was my USB pick, so as soon as he took a nap before a tribal council, I knew that he's not going to win this game. I said to myself, when do I get to change my USB, and how many points do I have a chance to win when I do? That'll be after the merge, and the most you can get if he doesn't get voted out by then will be 10. Well, enough venting. It was a good episode, and there were a lot of good things, too. I look forward to hearing from everyone else and to see if other people got bugged by the same things that got me annoyed this week. Thanks, Nathan. Listen up. I think you're going to hear some folks commiserating with you.
Well, true, but the part about Chelsea, the good part that Chelsea did do with that is, yes, she found it when she was looking for firewood, but she saw the split tree and chose to stick her hand down in there.
To search it.
Yeah,
so to answer Pete's question, it wasn't a coincidence. She was actively searching. She took advantage of her opportunity.
You're talking about Nathan?
No, Pete had mentioned that earlier too, and Nathan reinforced it by saying, "Hey, don't take too much credit. You got lucky." But like you're saying,
she did get lucky, but she also made the effort to look.
Has she not made the effort to check?
To say, that's a split tree. I wonder.
That looks like a place someone might hide one. Let me check. And yes. So maybe that was the only thing she checked while she was out gathering firewood, but certainly paid off. And
absolutely. So I got to give her some credit for that.
But saying that the other folks aren't any good at it, like Nathan said, that's a bit much. Yep, she's feeling her oats there after starting fire and finding an idol. That would tend to give you a big head, especially if it came that quickly together.
Well, yeah, and she's such a fan. At least I have mad respect for her for learning to make fire before she went out there, especially as a big fan.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Thanks, Nathan. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. Stacy, last week you mentioned that you liked the outdoor ambiance, so I'm doing it out here again this week. Aaron definitely had a right to be mad because of the blind side, but man, he was overreacting quite a bit for just the first vote out. And that was pretty much the extent of any camp drama from Lyra for the whole episode. Something about the editing of the season feels a lot different. To me, it almost feels like I'm watching, like, The Office. I like it, though, but I wonder if they swapped up the staff or if they're just doing something new. So I also got Kelly spoiled to me of her going to the Island of the Idols while watching football on Sunday. And to be honest, I don't want that to happen anymore. So I still wasn't wowed by the Island of the Idols. Like I already mentioned last week, the extent of Boston Rob and Sandra's role so far just seems to be that they're getting to play a live-action JSFL. Once again, why did someone feel the need to lie about the Island of the Idols? Kelly somehow even told the exact same lie as Elizabeth, so yeah, I too am thinking that production is giving them this lie to tell to their tribes. I still don't see the strategy in it though. Kelly's Tear Fest definitely came off to me as deceitful, to say the least. It reminded me of JP on Heroes, Healers, Hustlers early on in the game when he was starting to strip naked in front of Alan just to prove he didn't have an idol on him. I'm definitely starting to think she's a slit-throat kind of player though. Vokai looked fine to me last week physically, but man, this time around at the challenge they could not keep it together in the water. So Tommy, just some simple advice, my friend. When you hear a target come up and that target is not you, especially when that target is not even endeared to you in any way, smile, nod your head, and vote them out. I mean, it's been 6 days, man. There's no way at this point you'd already be willing to give your game over to Jack or Molly. So honestly, after that tribal, I'm kind of liking Jason. He's starting to remind me of one of my all-time favorites, being Jonathan Penner. Jamal needed to just take a step back and learn a little lesson on how to be humble. Just within his regal trio, he wasn't necessarily the target over Molly, but man, while there may have been some truth in his comments to Jason, you have absolutely got to speak evenly to other players, especially at Tribal Council. This might be unpopular, but I kind of liked Nora by the end of the episode. I think she's psychotic, but in a fun way. I really loved her confessional while casting her vote against Molly. I thought that was very funny. The 7-2 to 1 vote leads me to believe that Jamal, Molly, and Jack were under the impression that they were going to split the vote against Nora and Jason with Dan, Tommy, Lauren, Kelly, and Janet and flush out an idol while doing so. I had nothing for or against Molly, so I'm pretty neutral with seeing her go. Jack and her both seemed pretty decent thus far, but if they had the same mentality that Jamal showed at Tribal, then it's a no-brainer as to why she's gone. Interesting how now 2 seasons in a row the second vote out was a Duke grad student. Next time on Survivor, Vince Bro's down with the guys, and someone has to sneak to the other tribe's camp. Interesting, we don't see that kind of stuff happen much. Well, alright, Joanna, Stacy, alright, everyone in the podcast. I enjoy submitting these, and I hope you all have some great feedback this week. Joanna, Stacy, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Cameron. Enjoyed those night sounds. Molly said that Jason actually made the effort to go around and make a personal connection with everyone after he goofed so hard in the first 3 days. And that seemed to make a difference for him. There was an extra scene with him where he cut down was it mangoes?
Papaya, I think.
Papaya. Okay. Cut down
Could have been a mango.
some fruit. Yeah, and brought it to him. He didn't really chop it so much as hit it, and it fell over, and then he retrieved it after he failed to be able to climb the tree.
Hey, he brought in food. Good enough.
There's like 3 extra videos on CBS All Access this week.
I was going to ask you, too, do you think that Rob really went to that place of upping it and lowering the questions that quickly, or did they just condense that for time reasons?
Well, certainly they were doing the time speed up in the edit, but yeah, so, maybe she stayed in that confused state longer, but in any case, the questions weren't hard. That fell apart. It lost its effectiveness.
She didn't know they weren't going to be hard. But anyway, that was just a thought I had, is that may not have been as quick as it appeared because they did it to save time.
Sure. Which is what we've asked. Please don't take too much away from the show.
Yeah. So just a thought to ponder.
Yeah. And I think some other folks are going to mention about where that whole idea came from with the idol in the hair, and I think where the lie's coming from about the 3 urns. I think those things are coming from the same person. I'm a little hesitant to give Kelly too much credit for these things. So, and Molly said she was very suspicious of Kelly's crying when she came back and told her story, but she didn't really put it together. She something about it, didn't ring true.
Off,
yeah, but she didn't attribute it to being, a complete charade the way Kelly was perpetrating it. So it worked and it didn't, I guess, in that regard for Molly. Thanks, Cameron. Good job, bud. Next up, we got a call from Victoria.
Hello, Joanna, Stacy, and the rest of my Survivor fandom out there. I'm so happy to finally remember to record a voicemail for my beloved show, Survivor. It's Victoria from Maryland. It's been a couple of years since
Been a while.
Just I keep forgetting to record by 12 o'clock here. But I did want to make sure that as a fellow Marylander, that's what we're called, yes, I remembered to give feedback because I don't feel like Nora represented us the way she should have. I know there's like the stereotype, and we all know it too in Maryland, that we are very forward and aggressive sometimes. So, Nora, she just put it out there. It's a 50 yoga thingamabobs. I don't do yoga, and now seeing that, I probably never will. But yes, like she has to make sure that she comes a little softer around the edges. I appreciate her gameplay and getting Molly out. She was definitely right. I was actually surprised too by Kelly. I'm kind of rooting for her. The whole hair trick was very creative, and I don't know, I can appreciate that. So I was surprised by this episode. I was surprised that Jamal was so laid back. To be honest, I was surprised the other team actually won the immunity, to be honest. I was really surprised by this whole episode, and that's why I love Survivor. I love the blind side. I love keeping it fresh. I am not a fan of the Idol Island. I just don't care. But I do care about the feedback at Tribal from Sandra and Rob. It is comedy at best. It's the realest thing. I'm usually saying the same exact thing as Sandra, so I think that I love that part. I just don't like the whole Idol thing. I can do without that whole island to just get thrown away in my regards. I just want to go ahead, put it out there that I actually remembered, and I'm proud of myself for remembering to do the voicemails today. But I miss you guys. I love talking to you guys. I love hearing everybody's responses. And my winner for this year is Tommy, just based on the fact that he seems really cool. There's no other influences that made me pick him at all, other than he's probably one of those people that I would be okay if he won. But now that I'm watching the program, I kind of want a female to win this year. There seems to be a lot of girl power there, and I'm here for it. All right, guys. Love hearing what everybody else thinks. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Excellent. Great to have you back.
Good job.
Enjoy having your voice back on the show, Victoria.
And Sandra said that she is the one that put the idol in Kelly's hair.
Mm-hmm.
So she helped her put it in there.
I think she's the one who came up with the Earn story, too, and she's encouraging them to lie. Next up, we got an email from Barbara in Long Island.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Welcome back. I love this season. My favorite is Nora because she's crazy. The whole cast is great. Of course, I lost my USB like about 60 of us, which only goes to show that Molly was a threat to win. So good on Lauren for realizing it. I heard somewhere that Sandra... here we go. that Sandra helped weave the immunity idol into Kelly's hair. And with the identical cover stories being told about Island of the Idols, it seems that the dynamic duo is doing a bit more than testing the castaways.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's about it from Long Island. Have a great season, everyone. All right. Thanks, Barbara. Good to hear from you.
Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all my Survivor friends. This is Rashmi from sunny Perth. That was a great blindside, and what a change. We did not have the old lady voted out. We did not have the Asian lady voted out. We did not have the nerdy kid voted out. But we had the pretty, young, blonde girl who was in the top 3 part of the Queen, the King, and the Jack alliance voted off. That was done so well. I also really enjoyed the whole challenge, especially, with the team which kept losing the bag of puzzles in the water, and then they couldn't reach the ladder up, and the ladder kept falling. But that was all in all lots of fun. And yes, I did not guess at all that Molly would go. Oh, by the way, did you see Dan giving Kelly a big kiss near her hair, when she came back? And I thought, ooh, there he goes. Obviously, in all the excitement, that didn't work out. About Kelly, I like the fact that she told a similar story to when Elizabeth came back from Island of the Idols. And I think it may be that Rob and Sandra are telling them to tell that story to keep the surprise there for everybody else. And at least she did big idols, but I just really loved the way she hid her idol in her hair. And I heard somewhere that actually Sandra had helped her tie it up in her hair. So that was really good fun. I don't know who'll go next, but I'm really enjoying Nora. She's so funny. She makes me laugh. I know she's annoying for everybody else, but she gives good entertainment in her dancing and all. So yeah, in all, I really enjoyed it. Waiting to hear what everybody else has to say. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Rashmi. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Boston. This is my first time ever doing a voice recording. I figured I would start doing that this year after a few seasons of writing emails. I don't have a lot of specifics to say so far about the season, other than that I really enjoy it. I love that the women are so strong and seem to be banding together and really holding it down both in challenges and at camp. I did not see the Molly vote-off coming at all, so that was a huge shock to me, but probably really smart of the Vokai tribe and of LeAnn and Elaine. So far, I feel like the Island of the Idols twist hasn't really made or broken the episodes for me. I've kind of take it or leave it at this point, but I'm excited to see how or if the immunity idols the castaways are winning from Rob and Sandra come into play, both in current tribal councils and potentially later on in the season as fake idols. I chose Missy as my USB, and so far I feel like she's doing pretty well, and I'm excited to see her and all the women continue to compete and hopefully have a female winner this season. I hope everyone has a good week and looking forward to the next episode.
Good job. Way to go on your audio feedback there, Christiana. Next up, we got an email from Hayden in Kansas. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I've been listening to your podcast for about a year now. I stumbled upon it last year when I was looking for somewhere to flood all of the Survivor thoughts in my head, and I'm so glad I found this Survivor podcast. We're glad you found us too. This year, however, instead of just listening in every week, I decided to start participating in the feedback show and JSFL. But enough about me and on to Survivor. I like this episode overall despite the rough patches in between. I had Chelsea as a safe pick because I didn't think she was going to be important in the episode, and boy was I wrong. She starts a fire for the Lyro tribe after the men can't get a spark and then finds an idol soon after. That's just plain cool. What's not cool though is Nora. Nora annoyed me the entire episode, whether it be her constant whining or her high school analogy. I was kind of hoping she would get voted off, but sadly I knew that was not the case due to the previews. I also didn't like Island of the Idols from last week. I thought the Island of the Idols was supposed to be this place that helped everyone improve a skill, but this week's showcase and next week's preview make it look more like little missions people do. I really despise this, as it makes idols the holy grail of Survivor become a collectible item every person can just walk in and get. The challenge was fun though, and had me on the edge of my seat as I watched Lyro almost blow it with the balls and Vokai fail multiple times at climbing ladders. All these things, however, pale in comparison to the awesome blindside by the Vokai tribe. Molly getting blindsided was a huge move in so many different ways. It showed that this season's definitely going to be all about big plays and that Janet is a strategic mastermind. She could have gone along with the easy vote and stayed completely out of trouble, but went for the queen instead and cut off her head. Janet and Chelsea are proving to be excellent Survivor players and make me want to see an alliance between the two of them at a tribe swap as a result. Finally, the preview for next episode makes it look a lot better than this one with a betrayal by Vince, Karishma getting injured, and Mission Impossible with Rob and Sandra. Thanks again for the great podcast, and I'm excited to hear what everyone else has to say about the episode. Thank you, Hayden. And I like that Hayden...
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the show. I like that Hayden highlighted Janet there because while Lauren was the shot caller, it seemed from the edit at least more that Janet was the enforcer. It was Janet that took the plan to Tommy and got that going, and that conversation between Lauren and Janet helped sway Kelly's mindset on things because Kelly, well, I guess that just could be a natural look with her looking confused, but she did seem like she didn't quite get it when Lauren was asking questions and Janet answered, well, Molly's the one to really be worried about.
Oh, I think she got it. She was just confused, like, what? We're going after Molly now?
That's what I'm saying. So, and then we see that conversation between Kelly and Tommy where they're not on board with that plan necessarily. So,
okay. However, if Janet had not spoke her mind when Lauren asked, what do you think about Molly, would Lauren have taken that any further?
Possibly not. That's why I said Lauren is a shot caller. She knew what she was doing, and she even chose to frame it that specific way. But it was Janet that picked up the ball and ran with it and seemed to make it happen from there.
Well, I think they both made it happen.
She was the enforcer, though, because she's the one she's the connection to Tommy that helped flip him. I think Dan's smart enough to get in line as soon as he sees which way the cards are going. I don't think he had any active role in that.
Anybody but me.
We'll recall Dan was dead set on getting rid of Jason and guaranteed us that he was gone first.
Yep, well, and after how things started the first week, it could have been him, and he probably knows that.
Yeah, hopefully he's pulled back for that very reason. Thanks again, Hayden. Next up, we got a call from Nicola-n-Jackson.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and all our Survivor family. This is Nicola and... Jackson. Although I don't know why he's on here. He hasn't even watched a single episode of the new season yet. But maybe we'll get caught up. He just went away for a few days for full break. And
we went to Great Wolf Lodge.
He went to Great Wolf Lodge and practiced his lily jumping skills and only got to pad number 2, his mom said. So obviously that's something he's going to have to work on, balance and over the water before he goes on Survivor. Enjoyed this episode this week. My USB went home. Like Joanne, I'm sorry, I'm not too upset by it because the more I saw of her, the less I was like, yeah, I really want a woman to win this season, but maybe that wouldn't be my ideal choice of all the women that are on the show. We look forward to next week. Loved hearing everybody's voices. It's so good to be back together. Hopefully there'll be just as much feedback this week. I'm sure there will. Still loving the content with Sandra and Rob. And I have no idea who's going to go next week. Maybe it'll be AA Ron. I don't know. Go Elaine. But thanks, guys, for everything you do, and we will talk to you next week. Say bye, Jackson.
I want to talk more about
it.
Please.
Bye, Jackson.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. I like how Nicola turns a little Jackson adventure into Survivor training. She's like, he's really got to work on that balance on the water. All right, next up, we got a call from Sophie.
Hi, Survivor fans. Hi, Joanne and Stacey. It was so nice to hear everybody's voices and comments. I was actually laughing. You guys are really funny. So thank you for calling in. Okay. I just watched it twice now. It was such a good episode. My husband was like, the game has changed so much, and it's a fantastic game. I was surprised how much he loves Tribal, and he's sitting close to the TV trying to listen, and the kids have to be quiet. From the beginning, Aaron is just digging a huge hole for him. I mean, Missy was trying. He's just way too paranoid, so I think he's going to be gone before or after the merge. My cat is meowing. I don't know how far the Girls Alliance will go, but now with Chelsea finding an idol and everything, oh well. Nora, she reminds me of a younger Crazy Debbie. Do you remember Pull Up Debbie? Who was trained in everything, and yeah, she looks like that. But I don't know, I don't seem to mind her too much. By the end of the episode, you're sort of rooting for her and Jason. Now, when Kelly went to the island, it was just annoying again. I think they are spending a bit too long on the Rob and Sandra thing. I don't mind it too much, but the questions that they asked her were way too easy. I mean, how many daughters does Sandra have? I mean, they could have asked what the ages of her daughters. At least that's a little bit harder. She had to be paying attention. And I just thought from the beginning it was a bit obvious that they were testing her knowledge. I don't know, I think when Kelly returned back to her tribe, she did seem way too guilty and jittery and nervous. I would have been suspicious. I would have just thought that she had dug or buried an idol that she had found up on the beach before getting to the tribe. She didn't have to go through all that palaver of emptying her bag and check me and all these tears. Did anybody else think that when the tribe were offered spices as a reward that they were just way too excited and happy about that? My husband was like, they don't even have meat or fishing line and hooks and stuff, but they do have a clam and coconuts. But I was just wondering, do they have rice to add these spices to? Overall, it was fantastic. Sorry guys, everybody who was rooting for Molly. Yeah, I guess she got too comfortable, and she did actually look a little bit like Parvati in some of those scenes, didn't she? I think when you're trying to do a split vote at the very beginning, when the tribe is the biggest, just, you do have to be in control, and it's not a good idea to do that because you're splitting the vote. You're saying, okay, you vote for this person, you vote for that person, you vote for this person. So you do come out quite sort of bossy and in control. So no wonder they called her the Queen, the King, and then Jack the Jack. But yay, it was really good. Excited for next week, and worried about somebody chopping, I don't know, their finger, hand, or bone somewhere. Anyway, take care. Bye.
Thanks, Sophie.
I don't know. I have a feeling she's not hurt as badly as she thought she was, because there didn't seem to be that much blood.
Yeah, it could be a puncture as well, as opposed to a slice. So it takes a little bit for a puncture to get going.
So well, maybe.
It's not clear exactly what's going on because she had her hand cupped. I think she wasn't applying pressure when they showed it, but you couldn't see wherever the cut was.
Okay.
Thanks again, Sophie. Next up, we got an email from Kaleb in Texas.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Here are my thoughts for the week. Starting things out, the Molly boot was very surprising, and I thought that move shouldn't be made too early. I think Lauren might get some karma for that move. Although I like Molly, it was very entertaining for me as a viewer. I enjoyed the fact that Vokai is kind of struggling this episode because I was worried it was going to be the classic orange tribe never wins scenario. That still may be the case, but at least Lyro has won because it was a paying attention lesson, which might be beneficial to Kelly. I was glad she won that idol after such an easy quiz. Come on, Rob. Better questions than that. Speaking of Rob and Sandra, we got to see them walk into their little hidey hole, so now we know where it is. Actually, they showed that the first week, too.
Yeah, you might have missed it, Caleb.
Yeah, Stacy didn't see it either the first week, so. JSFL this week was decent for me. I got all of my safe picks, but I picked Jason to go home, so I was very close. Those are most of my thoughts. Thank you for a great podcast. All right, thank you, Caleb.
Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I am upset. Molly got voted off, and Molly was my USB. What these people don't understand, they're getting too wrapped up in the big moves too early because Jeff gives them that big move speech and it sticks with them. But I love Jeff Probst, and I love big moves. But you don't make a big move on day 3, day 6, day 9. If you want to make a big move early, wait till the swap. That's what you do. You don't vote off Elaine first because you like Elaine too much. You don't vote off Molly first because Molly's too good. This doesn't make nobody. If you're sitting there day 39 and you say, "Oh, I voted off Molly on day 6," if Lauren does that, nobody cares what you did on day 6. On day 39, nobody's gonna go like, "Oh yeah, your resume from day 6 is really good. I really want to vote for you because what you did then." Survivor is all about timing. There's obviously cases when people waited too long to make moves, but you never want to make them this early because it avails to nothing. You also are now looked at as, wow, you're a player. You are a player because you voted off Molly. That was an epic blindside, and that was all you, Lauren. You're a player. And now Lauren's viewed as, Lauren's the new Molly. Lauren becomes the person she wanted to vote off. Her tribe mates are going to see that. Jamal's going to be like, wait a minute. He's probably going to be able to sway some people. It's a good move for Jason and Nora because they were on the outs. It's not a good move for anybody else. Anybody else. It's day 6. Go with the easy vote. You vote off the annoying people, and then if a tribe swap hasn't happened yet, go for it. That's your time. So I hope next week is more exciting. I don't know, I guess the vote was exciting because it was a blindside, but I think it was a dumb blindside, so I wasn't for it. Also, I lost my USB. I lost my USB super early. I could rant about this for hours, man.
I believe you.
All right, that's all I got. I'm going to stop myself. That is all I got. I will see you guys next time.
I lost my USB. That's the truth. That is the truth there for the whole thing. There you go. Good deal. Thanks, Parker. We enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is David in Pittsburgh. Well, I have to admit, I'm really surprised at how good this season's going so far. I really thought that the teams were entertaining, and I was surprised at the outcome at Tribal Council. All the signs pointed to a Jason or a Nora boot, and when Molly's name came up, I just didn't believe they'd do it, and neither did Molly. So I really enjoyed that episode. I think that at Tribal Council, Jamal was patronizing to Jason. Obviously, he felt he was in control of the game. He had taken a nap. He hadn't packed. And I just really didn't like his attitude. Up to then, I kind of liked him. And I'm sure Molly and Jack were feeling the same conceit that they had the game under control. As she said, after she was booted, that she felt humbled, and I'm not sure Jamal will be able to make the same statement when he's outed. So we'll see. As to the other tribe, I thought that Aaron was in the same situation, so we'll see how good of a survivor player both those men are. And as for the Rob and Sandra segment, it was fun and informative. And as soon as they began spouting off all that information about themselves, I knew a test was coming, and I didn't think Kelly would be up to the tasks. But she proved me wrong. She did a great job. I was impressed with her answering the questions. I was impressed with her acting ability on the beach, and I was impressed with how she thought about hiding the idol in her hair. So I think she could go pretty far in this game. I'm wondering if every week that an idol is going to be offered for the test from Rob and Sandra. If that's the case, we could have a heck of a lot of idols floating around on the island. Or maybe once idols are out there and haven't been played, another type of advantage will be given. And I just want to say that on CBS All Access, Molly talked about how much she enjoyed her 6 days on Survivor. Clearly, she was not doing much strategizing, and I think that's an error newbies might play to their likability factor, and I think that was a mistake. But before the season began, I just thought there wasn't much hype except for Sandra and Rob, and I'm finding that the cast and the Idol Island conceit is working really well, so I'm really having a good time, and I hope other people are too, and can't wait to hear what others have to say.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanna and Stacy, it was a good episode, a decent challenge, 2 hidden idols, and a brutal blindside. The cast and theme are starting to grow on me. The next episode could be a real doozy. My other observations, Molly may look a bit like Parvati, but she sure didn't have her game. The king, the queen, and Jack thought they'd aced the game. Then she found the hidden idol. Germaphobe Kelly didn't seem to mind getting a hug and a back rub from Sandra. I guess that makes it official. Dan has cooties. Don't you hate when mentors ask pointless questions and jabber about their kids? I take it back. Rob doesn't want to replace Jeff. He wants to be the next Monty Hall. Handsy Dan was at it again when Kelly returned from the Island of the Idols. Jeff must be stoked about the creation of hair idols. They sure beat crotch idols. Yeah, way better than having her hide it in the hair is way better than having them shove it down their pants and then hand it over to him, I'm sure. It's funny how stoked people were about getting spices, even though several contestants said they weren't getting much food. If my house was on fire and Vokai raised a ladder, I'd just jump from my window. Yoga's supposed to encourage mindfulness. You'd think a practitioner like Nora would be more aware that yoga positions are easier when not done in pounding surf. I think that was just the perfect juxtaposition of Nora. Yeah, that was
and
excellent.
A slight slope and sand.
Yeah.
So
I suspect Jamal was originally going to be cast as a Goliath. He sure sleeps through gameplay like one. I think Nora wants to be the next dancing baby. Wow, that's a nice flashback, ma'am. Rob and Sandra entering their box after the tribe is at Tribal Council is another test of game awareness. Nora says she doesn't like to stick in. I don't think she needs to worry about that. Rob and Sandra's box isn't a duck blind, it's a confessional, and eventually they'll give someone a Hail Mary to save themselves. Jamal just found out that driving in first gear gets you passed in a race. Did anyone else notice Molly's bullfrog throat as the votes were being read? And then her game croaked. Next time somebody's cut to the bone and a mentee has to sneak into the other camp, will someone literally be cut from the game? And why does Rob want panties? I have no idea what that's a reference to.
A panty raid, like they do in college.
Got you. Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh.
At least that was my interpretation.
Okay,
I don't know if that's what Josh's was, but
we'll go with yours.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Was they were sending him to the other camp for a panty raid. I don't think so, but okay.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, thanks, Josh. Next up, we got a call from Rodney.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans everywhere. It's Rodney from Illinois, and I'm 2 for 2 on the season, giving some feedback. I thought this episode was pretty good. You have some interesting characters. You have, Kelly. I thought that it was kind of scary how quickly she was able to just start crying on the beach and start flipping all of her items out like it was going to make some kind of a difference. It's a little bit of a psych issue there for me. Speaking of psych issues, you look at Nora. Nora's got some personality things going on there, and her understanding of group dynamics and social awareness skills are a little bit lacking, in my opinion. Overall, I think most of the group dynamics were interesting. I think that there's a pattern in the boot off. Purple Tribe booted off a very similar player type to the Orange Tribe. It's got rid of the second-ish person in command. He went. He was the less physical of the two, the left and right hand. And now we see Molly go, and she's also from a leadership position, but not necessarily the most physically fit of the options. It's kind of like a slap in the face to the physical players, like, hey, we would have voted you out too, but we did your muscles, so we're going to keep you around for a little while longer. And I think that might have a bite you in the butt thing coming up towards the end of the season with if both of these two really physical players make it to the merge. It's like, yeah, that do happen to me. Let's get even. So that'll be interesting to watch for. All in all, I thought the segment with Rob and Sandra was a little bit obvious. As soon as they started talking, I looked at my wife and I said, they're going to quiz around what they're saying. They just threw the information out too fast and disjointed. I don't know if that's because of the edit it appeared that way. And I totally agree. Kelly looked lost in the conversation, like she checked out and her mind was back at home, because she did not look like she cared at all about what Rob and Sandra were trying to tell her. But I look forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. Here's to another good week and another week down in school. Take care.
All right. Good job. Thanks, Rodney. Next up, we got a call from Taz.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is Taz in Louisiana. This was another good episode of Survivor. Aaron was upset for being left out of the loop, but seems to have reeled it in after the initial blow-up. It was smart of Missy to pull Aaron aside, and what she offered him was good sage advice. I think Aaron's position in the game will be safe for now if he keeps it together. People in the game typically have short memories. While this episode was almost entirely focused on Vokai, we did get a little glimpse of Lyro. There we see Chelsea stepping up and showing the guys how to make fire, and then casually finding an idol while gathering firewood. You go, girl. She also has great situational awareness of the game and how it is unfolding around her. The force is strong in this one, Obi-Wan. I did enjoy the IOI segment and realized quickly what was going on with the overload of details given about the mentor's home life. My impression of Kelly is going up with each episode, and she played it perfectly upon her return to camp. And when she does return to camp, we see dirty old Dan pushing the boundaries again. He cradles her face in his hands, kisses her on the forehead, and then gives her a strong embrace. I thought this was a tad much for someone who has been told to keep their distance. I wonder if he is touchy-feely with the guys as well, or if it's just the ladies. It was a good challenge. I'm not sure why Vokai had so much difficulty with the ladder. Maybe it was because they were placing it off to the side where the one on the ladder had to lean out to reach for the bag. That would definitely cause balance issues. That loss of time probably cost them the challenge. Another standout on this episode was Lauren. Wow, She has a lot more awareness than I gave her credit for. She recognized the threat and cleanly eliminated it without getting her hands dirty. I feel that Molly clearly had no awareness of how others perceived her. She thought her alliance was totally under the radar, while it was as visible as a blimp sitting on their beach. And how stupid was it for Jamal to go take a nap while the rest of the tribe is strategizing before tribal? Never get that comfortable in the game. At tribal, Nora shows that she isn't going anywhere with her Katniss from the Hunger Games impersonation. Girl on Fire is here to stay, and Molly eats the berries. Next on Survivor, we have the first injury of the season and probably the first medical. Cutting a finger to the bone can be serious if tendons are severed, and it may require surgery. Even if we do have an evac, I think there will still be a tribal council. As always, thanks for the great podcast. Taz in Louisiana, over and out.
All right. Thanks,
Good
Taz.
Good job, Taz. I realized I was smiling the whole time just to hear Taz's voice.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
2 episodes in, 2 idols, and 2 blindsides so far. This season is getting off to a solid start, and I feel more blindsides are still to come. I don't have a lot to say about this episode, but the challenge seemed pretty simple. I'm surprised how hard it was for Vokai to hold the ladder still while trying to get the balls. The Island Idol Challenge this time was a great way to test the memory that you have, and both Rob and Sandra did a great job going back and forth. I would have also went for it to see if my memory is as good as I think it is. At Tribal Council, it was a pretty funny moment to see Nora's hair catch fire briefly. A lot of the people did not see Molly going out this early, and I was one of them. I thought she would have gone a lot longer, but when thinking about the game, the tribe probably made the right choice in the long run. I do hope to see Molly come back on another season at some point, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. All right, thanks, Jack.
Yeah, I fear she may become Francesca. They're a little hesitant to bring those people who seem like they have potential back, only to get voted off immediately again. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey everyone, it's Justin from Michigan. I really enjoyed the episode, other than Nora. I'm getting kind of tired of her already. My theory is she is an entrepreneur, not really by choice, but because nobody wants to hire her or work with her. So that's just kind of my harsh theory for this week. I'm going to have her as my vote out just because I'm just kind of sick of her. I want to see some of these other players. We haven't seen a lot from, Dean and some of the other players. So I'd like to get to know them so I can start forming opinions on them. Just kind of over Nora. I really liked LeAnn. I didn't think much of her going into the game. Judge a book by its cover. I didn't really have a strong impression of her, but she showed she can really strategize well and work with people. Hopefully she doesn't get too overly aggressive. She keeps trying to make these type of moves early on. Could end up biting her, but hopefully she can rein it in and make some of those moves post-merge. And then the last thing I wanted to say is, at Tribal Council, it did rub me the wrong way, Jamal's arrogance. He should know by now, Survivor's been on for a long time, you should never be comfortable. I don't care how big you are, you should never be that comfortable. Not bringing your bag and then making a comment like that where, I'm not in your position yet, Jason. I didn't like that at all. If I was Jason, I would have been tempted to just get up and cause a stir like we saw last season. Just get up and start whispering and pointing towards Jamal and maybe give him a wake-up call. Hopefully he still got that with the vote out and him not being involved in it. I do love Jamal. I just hope this was an isolated incident of cockiness by him. And then I really like Tommy. Still like him as my USB, balancing Teacher Tommy, Survivor Tommy. I think his head's in a good place right now. All right, that's it. Have a good week, everyone.
All right, thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Krystle.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Krystle from Pasadena. All I have to say is, wow, what a great 2 episodes that we've had. And I only hope that this means that there are many more blindsides and exciting stories on the horizon this season. I'm really liking the twist. I love hearing Sandra's comments during Tribal Council. And I must say that right along with Molly, I was pretty blindsided to see her go. But at the same time, I'm a little worried to see so much cockiness and arrogance from Jamal so far. I was starting to root for him until I heard him speak more, and that just really made me worry for him in this game. I mean, 2 episodes in and we're already seeing some arrogance. The merge hasn't even happened yet, so I'm very anxious to see what is going to happen and how everything is going to play out. But overall, great 2 episodes. I'm really excited for more. I wish it was a 2-hour episode every week. And yeah, I just can't wait for next week already. And that's about it. I can't wait to hear what everyone says. I hope everyone has a great week. Thanks for all you do. Till next time. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Crystal. Good job. Next up, we got an email from LeAnn in California. Hi guys, I have a bad cold this week, so it's back to email feedback for me. Once again, I enjoyed the Island of the Idols. It didn't seem to take too much time away from the gameplay, and I like getting to see more of a player away from the others. As with Elizabeth last week, I like Kelly more than I thought I would after seeing her interact with Rob and Sandra. I've come to the conclusion that Rob and Sandra will always entice the contestant into a challenge, since being turned down is just bad TV. And I agree with others that they're probably being coached to lie when they return to their tribes just to keep up the suspense, I guess. As for the Purple Tribe, I was glad to see the nerds and misfits take control of the game. It's always satisfying to see our kind unite to teach the popular kids a lesson. Noura's safe for now, and I must say that I'm getting a sense that her edit may not be all loser anymore. But then again, my cold has indeed altered my senses, so we'll see how that pans out. As for the injury next week of what appears to be Karishma's hand, I have a similar injury story where I swore I saw bone after slicing my finger open with a razor blade. I freaked out, raced to the emergency room, but by the time I got there, the wound had closed up quite nicely, and I was essentially just given a Band-Aid. I am sure Karishma's wound won't involve nice, clean, sharp razor blades, but let's hope her injury isn't as bad as it looks and that she can stay in the game. Amen to that.
See, maybe that influenced me thinking it wasn't going to be as serious as she thought.
Pretty sure it did.
Probably.
So that's it for me for now, except for one last comment. Am I the only one that's noticing the abundance of man boobs on the island?
No, you are not.
I don't mind looking at normal human bodies, but come on, dude. Put a tank top on. LeAnn. Oh, goodness. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. It's Jeremiah Panhorst here with some feedback for this week. Another great episode. The first 2 episodes have been really solid so far. I am definitely enjoying the season. I am very excited about this cast. And as far as the Islands of Idols concerned, you know what? I'm not really hating it. I was worried going into this episode with a shorter, back down to only 60-minute episode. I was concerned that maybe it would take away from gameplay and everything too much, but I feel like they're doing a good job this season as far as editing. I feel like it's not too bad, and having a reward and immunity challenge together definitely helps as well to keep up with being able to show as much gameplay as possible, which as an adult, that's what I enjoy more. I know the kids always like Jackson likes to watch all the challenges. For me, one solid challenge that I'm good. I just want to see the interaction with the players. Kelly seemed to handle herself pretty well, a little bit better than Elizabeth on the Island of Idols, although I'm a little confused why everyone feels like they need to lie about the fact that they're seeing Rob and Sandra. Just tell them. Just tell them, hey, it's a lose-lose no matter what, because most people are not going to believe anything you say anyway when you come back. So that's just the way I feel about it. I was definitely shocked to see Molly go. Apparently everybody was. Even though I wasn't high on her in the preseason, after watching her play that first episode, I really liked what I saw from her. And then, of course, she gets blindsided because I guess she showed her cards too much. Everybody was too concerned about her, and that's not good, and that sucks. I mean, it seems like she was a real true fan, so I hated to see that go. Obviously, some big players from this week that really stood out really nicely. Obviously, Chelsea getting the idol. She looks like to be in really good shape. I liked her, but I like her even more watching her. And Lauren, who I almost picked as my USB, looks really good too. I liked how she came across this week. Very exciting. Now, I was debating on a lot of different people to pick for my USB, and I decided to go with Jamal. But after this week, oof, not good. Wow. Well, you could put him on the cross on the list as someone who's not going to win, because as we all know, as an editing trick, everyone who doesn't pay attention to the edit too well, anyone who is being shown to not have any idea what's going on and looks so clueless like Jamal did this week, they're not winning the game. I can tell you that right now. So now I just gotta hope he can make it to the merge so I can pick somebody else, because he's definitely not winning. A lot of exciting things so far this week. That's pretty much it for me. But I did want to say a quick congrats to Drew adding to his crew. Very exciting news to have another Survivor fan out there in the world. All right, well, that's it for me. Take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah.
All right, thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is KimJ from Nashville. I so enjoyed this week. It was so much fun. Blindside number 2. I gotta say, blindsides never ever get old. Like sometimes, like idle plays, like we've seen them, but blindsides never get old. I don't know if it was a good move or not, because there is certainly a value to staying under the radar and not ruffling the feathers, not making a big move like this early. But I don't know. Sometimes if you feel like this is your shot, you've got to take the shot. My only real concern is leaving Nora in the game, because she looks to be this season's Wendy or Abby Maria, and those players are always so volatile that you end up regretting not taking them out earlier the longer that you keep them in the game. And so that's my biggest concern. I think Jason can probably rebound, but we'll see about Nora. And again, I'm fine with her staying. I actually had her safe, which either makes me bold or incredibly dumb. This week, I'm kind of teetering between Aaron and Vince. Vince, because we see them trying to get him on their side, and I'm wondering if the girls are going to think that he's trying to play both sides and maybe think they can't trust him and get rid of him and keep Aaron instead. So I'm kind of teetering between those two as my possible vote off, because I do think that Laro is going to be going back to tribal council. I'm glad that it kind of alternated here. I like when it alternates a lot and we don't have just one tribe that gets decimated. So, and I really hope that they don't throw a swap in there just too soon, that they give these tribes a little bit more time in their original tribes and wait to maybe 16 or 15 to swap tribes. That would be great. So next week we're finally going to get a second person from a tribe to go to Idol of the Islands, or Island of whatever it is. Idol of the Islands, that's not right. And see what they come back with, when what they say. Because can you imagine if Aaron goes and comes back and just completely blows up Elizabeth's spot? Would they send Elizabeth home? I hope not, because I really want them to keep the girls' alliance strong. So I can't wait to hear what everybody else says. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode as much as I did. Thanks, Joanna and Stacey, for all that you do.
Thank you, KimJ. While certainly it could spin that way, I flash back when she was describing what might happen for Vince. I flash back to how hard he was there protecting Elaine. And I think him going to bat for Elaine like that would be worth something for him, so that the Women's Alliance wouldn't necessarily turn on him that quickly.
And I think he said something before last episode about he was talking to the guys, but he was getting information for their side.
Yep, good stuff. Thanks again, KimJ. Next up, we got a quick email from Slappy McGee.
Howdy, Joanne and Stacy. Thanks for the podcast. I enjoyed your insight. It got a little better for me this time, but I'm still not sold on this concept yet. I'm sorry that Joanne's USB got shipped out. I like Molly a lot. I was bummed about that. I really don't like Nora and wish she wasn't rewarded by staying. Her behavior is not awesome. What happens now, Joanne? Do you get to pick a new USB yet? How does that work? On the plus side, at least there was less of handsy-danzy this episode. Stacy, I'm still coming for you. Slap you out.
Yeah.
Yes, I will get to choose a new USB for a possible 5 points, but not until the week after the merge episode airs.
There we go. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Okay, so I was 1 week early on Molly being the vote out. I had her last week as first to go. Jeff Probst loved her, and she was the first one chosen for the season. He tends to love those charismatic people who never win on their first try. So that was kind of the vibe I got from her in hearing her preseason interviews, or rather preseason interview. I only heard one. But Lauren, I think, picked up on exactly the kind of things I was picking up on. And boy, she just pounced. She came here to play, I mean, right out of the gate. So that was a good play. It made for exciting TV, and that's why we're watching. So good job, Lauren. And also good job, Kelly, for rocking Island of the Idols this week. I really did not think she was listening that closely as Boston Rob and Sandra went on and on and on about their lives and their children and their dogs. I mean, when you're tired and you're deprived of food, someone who's a good listener on their best day would have difficulty with that. But, you know, she said she didn't have a very good memory. So somebody who has not a good memory and is deprived of food and sleep, that would probably be a very big challenge. And who even knows if she was telling the truth about that or not? I mean, she sweetened the deal. She got a better deal out of the idol that she won. That was awesome. And the lesson that they taught this week, that was a great lesson for Kelly to take back to camp with her. I've read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I'm telling you, the simple skill of listening to others and lifting them up and complimenting their strengths and just basically regarding the person you're communicating with as important really goes a long way. Now, about that idol she won, I had questions about that. Boston Rob said that it can be used at the next 3 tribal councils. So my big question is, are they the tribal councils that she goes to? So the next 3 tribal councils that she goes to, or are they just the next 3 tribal councils, in which it might just be a moot point if they don't go to any tribal council for the next 3 times? I really wasn't clear about that, and I wonder if there's any fine print surrounding Boston Rob's offer of that idol for the next 3 tribal councils. That definitely would be a question that I would ask, and I'd be interested to know if she asked it, because I don't feel like that was made clear. Just some final wrap-up notes. Cheers to Chelsea for finding that hidden immunity idol while gathering firewood. Multitasking, girl. Good job. Now I hope she just doesn't tell anyone about it. Next week on Survivor, somebody cuts themselves very badly. Not good. Oh, and lastly, I was wondering what everyone thought of the new change. Rather than having the previously on Survivor segment, we seem to get a couple of little preview clips of things to come on the episode. I don't know if I like that. I think they should just hit the ground running and go. I don't really need the previously on, and I certainly don't need previews of what's to come. Just show it to me when the time comes. Anyway, that's it for me. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks,
I'm
Jen.
with you, Jen.
Yeah. Well, I think Rob, on one of our later viewings, we got clarity, and you actually I got clarity. You picked up on it right away and mentioned it in the recap, is that he specifically said the ones that Kelly attends, the tribal councils that she attends.
That the immunity idol is good for the next 3 that she goes to.
He used that pronoun there. So it was a little different than what you thought there, Jen. So I think it's only the ones that she goes to, not the ones that the other tribe goes to.
Well, that was because I picked up on that, like you said, when he said it. Because I thought, oh, that's very specific and very different because, there could be a tribe swap.
Like Jen was saying, you have to be clear on exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing, Probst is just enamored with this idea of mystery this season. The no marooning, him not showing up, a mystery, being able to tease these moments in the future of the show. He's describing those as a mystery when Dalton asked about them in his weekly Q&A with Probst. Yeah, I'm same camp as Jen. Don't need it. We're Survivor fans. People who watch Survivor at this point...
Don't show me what's coming up.
No, don't even though Probst was really big and active about coming out and saying, hey, CBS is the one that's spoiling with these promos. Mm-hmm. We need CBS not to do that. I've asked them not to. They don't do it. And now they've come back and said they're not going to do it. But you're really walking the line with the showing moments from the upcoming episode, because unless you're super careful, you can include a spoiler because you have to watch for things in the background. And we don't need it. And Survivor fans don't need that to keep them engaged and watch the show. We're deeply, deeply engaged. You don't have to fake some mystery with a teaser
I don't like
at the beginning.
it in any show.
No,
for any reason. It annoys me.
It's this editing mentality for dummies. Supposedly, the reason they do this kind of crap is that they think that people are just flipping around, and this way they can get them engaged if they've just changed the channel.
Or hold their attention.
Yeah, from that, and you don't need that with Survivor. Survivor's so compelling that you don't need these gimmicks like this. He even referred to the $1 million prize as a MacGuffin. You know, that concept in movies or stories that it's some plot device to move it along. It's not important. The $1 million prize in Survivor, extremely important. It causes people to act and behave differently than they normally would.
Of course.
So it has a profound impact on how people approach the game. It is not a MacGuffin.
There are some people that would go just for the exposure or to promote something.
Right.
Or those kinds of things. But most of the people want the money, too.
Yes, it's still significant. It's still a big deal, and it holds sway, a significant sway. You know, when you got money, when you got Probst money, I'm sure it can seem like a MacGuffin, but to the rest of us, not so much.
Not so much, Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, saying that I'm putting away my fears that this season might be lackluster because these people are playing for keeps right out of the gate. Let's start with Nora. Yeah, she's a loon. The bizarre complaining, the weird I'm fitting in dynamic that she has with everyone who's only playing along with her for fears of finding a horse's head in their bed at night. Then there's her overexcited, uncontrollable dancing. And worse yet, did you hear her laughing? It was like, what's her name, Janice from Friends, Chandler's girlfriend? Yikes. You can tell she's used to starting fires all over the place, which probably explains why she handled her spontaneous combustion so effortlessly. She'll be strung along only because there are legitimate threats out there, but that's the only reason she'll last as long as she does. Eventually she'll go. So I have to admit that I like Kelly far better than when we started this 2 weeks ago. The lesson that was taught fit her like a glove, so in the end, I think she took back more than an idol to camp with her. And yeah, once again, I actually didn't mind the whole Rob and Sandra thing, which reminds me. I meant to listen to last week's feedback to get the name, but I know there was somebody out there who mentioned that they got the impression that Rob was almost, applying for Jeff's job? And you know, I had that feeling as well. But after watching this week, all I could say is, wow. He apparently has to read everything from cards, and it's just weird and forced. When he read the rules of the island to Kelly, it almost came off as though he thought she was illiterate. But the stiff readings that he delivers, well, that should show anyone that he's no Jeff. Okay, so I'm going to call out Dirty Old Dan this week as well. Did anyone else cringe when Kelly came back to camp and he was all over her? He was holding her face in his hands, he was hugging her, he was running his fingers through her idol-infused hair, and yeah, I know she walked into his embrace. But after that talk he got a few days ago, I know I'd be avoiding all physical contact with her. I wonder if he's touchy-feely with the men there also, or if that kind of intimacy makes him feel uncomfortable. And Molly, yeah, I dodged a USB bullet there. Her team was having so much trouble lifting her on that ladder in the challenge that I think they ended up feeling that she was nothing but dead weight. So in the end, they cut her loose. You know what she said at Tribal that hit me, though? When she told Jason, "We enjoyed you over the past few days." Enjoyed. Past tense. Never good. But here's to Lauren for coming through as a game changer. She's apparently another player I misjudged. And we also saw Chelsea's game come alive by starting a fire and finding an idol. I came so very close to having picked her for a USB, but I can't say that I'm upset with having chosen Missy instead. I like how she managed Aaron. He may have been upset, but he probably won't forget that she was there trying to calm him down. Excellent. In the end, yeah, Dina and Karishma are both non-entities so far. One of them has me scratching my head, the other, sadly, not so much now. And you know, Jack hasn't really been covered either, even though we found out that he was part of the Cool Kids Alliance. I guess there's just too many other things going on. Next to go, well, I'm at a complete loss, but since we have to pick, I'm going to say that Lyro goes to Tribal and that Dean goes home. It's been a very convoluted thought process that got me here, so keep that in mind if you're hoping for hints. Okay, that's it for me. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Paul. You think Purple Dean is in danger of leaving in the third week? I don't think so. The purple people
yeah, I
usually
don't
stay around a
think
little
so.
longer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I think he would have got a little more airtime. I too think that Lyra might lose the challenge.
Mhm.
And for me, I think it's going to be between Aaron and Karishma.
Really? You think Karishma? You think the women would? I don't think they're going to
I
turn
think
on her just
she's
because she hurts her
gonna-
hand if she hangs
No,
around.
it's not that. She might ask to go home because she injured her hand or, instead of being medically evacuated. So she's a question for me this
Mhm.
week.
Yeah,
Though I
could
don't-
see that, I guess,
I
when you
don't-
look at it that way.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron is off the table yet either.
No, and it's going to be really interesting going forward to contrast how Jamal responds to what just happened to him, to
Mhm.
how Aaron responded and then continues to respond. Because I think they're courting Vince because Aaron's desperate to get some revenge. Dean's purple for a reason normally. The ones that are purple in the edit are for a reason. It's because whatever they're doing is not contributing to the story in any significant way. So that's the sum total of what we know about Dean right now.
Well, maybe he is managing to stay way under the radar for people.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Or he just doesn't have a lot to offer in terms of a social game. So he's hampered by that.
Well, we've seen
It's usually
him
what that means.
sitting, working with the girls. Remember, Elaine was teasing him about already being so skinny.
Right.
That one of the girls would have to give him mouth to mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So he's around. Just haven't seen him do anything significant.
The number one takeaway after week 2 of Island of the Idols is no one is safe. It could literally be anyone. You just don't know how it's going to go down. And
it's true.
Should be interesting. Okay, so I'll give them this in terms of the mystery, but this is naturally from next time on Survivor. It'll be interesting to see what that mission is to go to the other tribe's camp when someone from Lyro has to go to the Vokai camp, how that plays out, what the pros, cons are, what the result is, that kind of thing, how it all comes together. I'm looking forward to seeing that, certainly as we head into week 3.
Alrighty.
We want to thank everyone who took the time to send in your thoughts, your predictions, your analysis, your observations, all that. Good job. We also want to thank Sophie and Christy for your donations. We really appreciate your support and helping us with the operational costs of the podcast. That's always a big help. Thank you so much.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to get your picks in before the deadline of 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. I like we got all these folks playing JSFL with us. We're all invested. Gives you a whole different outlook on the game and how things are
Yes, it
going down.
does.
And it's a great test of how good you are at observing what's going on and figuring out who might be going next. We all failed the test last week.
We certainly did.
We got surprised.
And yet, it was just such a good blindside that I'm not upset like Parker.
Yes.
I thought, yeah, I know, and I should reasonably be more upset, but I'm not. That was just so awesome.
You didn't get a chance to get fully invested in Molly. I think Parker
No, I wasn't.
he was all in on Molly. And after hearing her interview with Josh Wigler, I thought, wow, you were really not as well spoken as you think you are. And I'm going to have to dodge that bullet, and I'm glad I avoided her because I was tempted to go that direction.
Yep.
She's got a really bad case of like. It comes in every sentence.
Oh, yeah, that's your pet peeve.
Well, one of them.
That's true.
All right. With that, we'll head out. Have a good one.
You guys, I forgot again. I keep forgetting until it's way too late. I'm sure you're already done. But I wanted to say, even if just for you two, good one. Really enjoyed it. I just wanted to call in and say, I'm looking forward to everyone else's feedback. Loser of the week is Nora, because she's annoying. The winner of the week is, I'm going to say, Kelly, because, yeah, she pulled off the win over at the Island of the Idols. All right. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you. Bye. P.S. Did I mention that I also forgot my picks this week? Yeah. I'm really, really doing great. I'm going to catch the next one next week. I'll talk to you guys then. Bye.